Maryland's 2018 season just really wasn't the best one. They ended up going 5-7, missing a bowl game. And by how are they going to do in 2019? That's what we're going to be going over today. It's Maryland's schedule preview. We're going to be going over a few players that this team will be returning, who they're going to be losing. They'll be impactful, and then we're going to look at their schedule for the first time this offseason. A few players that they will be returning. They are returning Kasem Hill, but the injuries, though, is a big problem. This team's really had to deal with injuries in the past. They also lose Ty Johnson, two receivers, four offensive linemen, one tight end. This offense is really wiped out by losses. I mean, they do return Kasem Hill, and I do believe that just recently, before I created these graphics, Josh Jackson transferred out of Virginia Tech, and he has decided to go to Maryland. And so they do have Josh Jackson now. That is not noted on here. But it is uncertain who's going to start at quarterback yet. We do not know for sure. They also lose two defensive linemen, two linebackers, and two safeties. So on defense, really, they're losing quite a bit as well. More than half of their starters from last season. This team really, I hate to say it, but I really don't expect a whole lot from them next year. Just the losses are going to be too much for them. They probably will be pretty good at the quarterback position. Whoever starts should be pretty good, so that will help them. That'll help them get a few wins there. But really, everything else, they are losing so many players, so many key players. Ty Johnson. It's going to be a little bit of a rough season, I think, for Maryland. They probably will get to right around where they were last season, I think. Possibly even a little bit on the downside. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting from Maryland. Now looking at their schedule, this is their schedule for next season. Really, there's a few games that are definitely winnable on here. I mean, you got Howard, then you got Syracuse. That's going to be more of a tough game probably since Syracuse, they were a pretty good team last season actually. At Temple, that's a road game. They could win that one since Temple isn't great. And I don't really expect them to be very good next season either, but it's still a road game, so you got to note that one. Rutgers on the road, that could be a win. And then you've got at Purdue, Indiana, Minnesota, Michigan. So really October isn't the toughest month for them. The thing is, November is brutal for this Maryland team. You got Michigan at home. You have to go to Ohio State, Nebraska at home, and then at Michigan State. Four very tough games. And especially with Michigan State on the road, probably your easiest game you'd assume would be Nebraska at home in here. But you do not want to sleep on Nebraska this season. That is a team that I think is going to be dangerous. No one is really talking about them yet. I mean, we've heard a few things about them, but I do think with Scott Frost there and what he's doing, definitely going to be a dangerous team there. So you can't sleep on that game as well. But Michigan and Ohio State kick off November. You can't forget about those either. Those are going to be two very tough games. Two of the better teams in the Big Ten in back-to-back weeks. November will be brutal for Maryland. Looking on the bright side, though, on it, they do have a bye week between the Ohio State and Nebraska games. So they do have a little bit of a break in between there. But still, once again, November will be brutal for Maryland. You're going to want to get your wins. If you're going to want to go for a bowl game, you really got to have your games. You really got to have your 4 or 5 wins at least before November. Because once again, in November, it's really going to be tough to get a couple wins in there. But yeah, Howard and Temple, I do think those are going to be two games that they should win. I'm expecting 3-9 to 7-5. 3-9 being the worst case scenario. I can't see them going below 3-9. I mean, we saw a couple teams do that last season out of the Power 5 conferences, go 2-10. But I do not think they're going to go 2-10. 3-9 is the worst, but you don't really want to talk about that. If you want a more defined estimate as to how I think they're going to do next season, I think 4 to 5 wins is your best bet. Because likely they'll beat Rutgers on the road. I think that'll be your third one. And possibly you'll get Purdue or Indiana or possibly even Minnesota in there. One of those games I think will be a win. And then you could beat, or you could get an upset at home. That is also very possible. You can't forget about that as well. Almost every team has a pretty good upset at home. Whether you're not a bowl caliber team or not, you still have a pretty good chance to upset a good team at home. We've seen that from many teams, especially last year. I mean, look at that Purdue and Ohio State game. Like, I don't know if Purdue would have been able to go in Ohio State win, but Purdue smacked Ohio State at home. That's just an example there. But anyway, that's it for the Maryland schedule preview. What are your guys' thoughts on this team? This was a tougher one to predict. I just didn't know. I mean, yeah, they're losing a lot of players, but they still have quite a bit of potential in the quarterback position. But anyway, that's it. Thank you guys all for watching, and show some support only if you'd like to. More coming soon. We're going over the Big Ten schedule previews right now. This is only our third one, I do believe. So, yep, I'll see you later.